Shalom. Let's get right into it, into this lesson. Right. All right, we're going to give our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shema Shah. Don't run into the apostle brothers of LG Great Millstone. Shalom to the hope for the elect. Shalom. So you see the time that we are in. Discernment the signs of the time. I'm going to get some scriptures. We're going to move right to this. As you see, nuke bomb 12 miles from NATO coming off of warning of World War III. So what's against the scripture? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 10. To whom shall I speak to give warning, that they may hear? Behold, their ears is circumcision, and they cannot hearken. Behold, the word of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it. Right, they have no delight in it. Let's move right into this stuff.
Included a new intermediate. Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's Dina Calmetta here, and for today's show, I do have a few headlines I'd like to share with you, and I'd like to start with Russia. It is being reported that Putin has increased the number of his strategic nuclear bombers stationed at an airbase near Finnish and Norwegian borders. According to satellite images, there are 7 Tu-160 strategic bombers and 4 Tu-95 aircraft at a facility on the Kola Peninsula, found in the extreme northwest of Russia and in the Arctic Circle. The disclosure comes from Factis.no, an independent Norwegian fact-checking website, which obtained the data from American satellite operator Planet. The buildup at the airbase follows international concern over another report 2 weeks ago, the Jerusalem Post, that revealed there was an unusual deployment of 7 nuclear bombers at the airbase. This was highlighted by the Israeli intelligence firm ImageSat International, which detected the irregular presence of the Tu-160s and the Tu-95s. The Armageddon planes are usually stationed at Engels Air Base 450 miles southeast of Moscow. Now, however, the bombers are stationed around 115 miles away from the border of NATO member Norway and about 95 miles away from the soon-to-become alliance member Finland. In the meanwhile, Moscow and NATO are both proceeding with nuclear exercises. The Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement on Thursday that it conducted exercises involving an unspecified number of the Yars mobile ground-based missile systems, with troops testing how to hide them from aerial reconnaissance systems and protect them from being sabotaged on the ground. More than 3,000 troops and about 300 vehicles took part, according to the statement. With that being said, more than 14 members of NATO will take part in Steadfast Noon. The exercise, which runs for 2 weeks, will test a mix of more than 50 fighter escort and surveillance jets, as well as tankers needed for a nuclear mission, but will not use any live bombs. The drills will involve flights from an airbase in the northeast of Belgium to test procedures related to the dropping of nuclear bombs. It goes on finally to report that asked at a briefing earlier in the week whether there were concerns that NATO drills could further raise tensions with Russia, Stoltenberg stated that it would send a very wrong signal if we suddenly now canceled a routine that's been a long-planned exercise because of the war in Ukraine. Speaking to reporters in Brussels on Wednesday, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that allies continue to monitor any shift by Russia towards using nuclear weapons. He said that we've not seen any indicators at this point that would lead us to believe that. But again, it's not something we look at once and leave alone. This is something we remain focused on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has also been reported that Kremlin officials are warning of a guaranteed escalation to a catastrophic World War III. Russia has once again warned that meddling from the West could spark World War III. Should NATO approve Ukraine's bid to join its organization, a top Kremlin official threatened global destruction. The Deputy Secretary of Russia's Security Council said that Kyiv is well aware that such a step would mean a guaranteed escalation to World War III. He insisted that the West are solely making threats of nuclear war, despite his own president, Putin, consistently teasing the use of nuclear weapons. He claimed that Russian officials have never voiced a threat to use any weapons of mass destruction. Meanwhile, in Europe, some politicians, he said, openly call for such actions. Even a number of politicians in the EU do not conceal and do not rule out the possibility of using weapons of mass destruction against Russia. He also stated that we must remember a nuclear conflict will affect absolutely the whole world, and not only Russia and the collective West, but in general, any country on this planet. Its consequences will be catastrophic for all mankind. So without a doubt, some very, very high tensions between Russia and NATO. In the meantime, it has been reported that North Korea early on Friday launched a short-range ballistic missile towards its eastern waters and flew warplanes near the border with South Korea, further raising animosities triggered by the North's recent barrage of weapon tests. The North Korean move suggests it would keep up a provocative run of the weapons test designed to bolster its nuclear capability. Some experts say that North Korea would eventually want the United States and others to accept it as a nuclear state, lifting economic sanctions and making other concessions. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff have boosted its surveillance posture and maintains military readiness in close coordination with the U.S. The Japanese defense minister stated that whatever the intentions are, North Korea's repeated ballistic missile launches are absolutely impermissible and cannot overlook its substantial advancement of missile technology. North Korea's series of actions poses a threat to Japan, as well as the region and the international community, and are absolutely intolerable. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command said in a statement that the North Korean launch didn't pose an immediate threat to U.S. personnel or territory or its allies, adding that the U.S. commitments to the defense of South Korea and Japan remain ironclad. North Korea said on Monday that its missile tests in the past 2 weeks simulated nuclear attacks on key South Korean and U.S. targets. It said that the tests included a new intermediate-range missile that flew over Japan and demonstrated a potential range to reach the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam. North Korea also said that the weapons tests were meant to issue a warning to South Korea and Washington for staging dangerous joint naval exercises involving a U.S. aircraft carrier. Finally, it reports that South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff said in a separate statement that North Korea has flown warplanes, presumably 10 aircraft, near the rivals' border late on Thursday and early Friday, prompting South Korea to scramble their fighter jets. The North Korean planes flew as close as 7 miles north of the inter-Korean border. South Korea responded by scrambling their F-35 jets and other warplanes, according to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So North Korea is definitely looking for trouble. Lots of weapon tests, and now flying their warplanes near South Korea's border. Definitely an escalation. In the meanwhile, the United States and the Philippines has joined their military forces and conducted a series of live-fire military exercises in a remote region north of the capital. The combat drills in the Philippines, which have been supported by American forces, come as tensions with China continue to rise, with the Chinese president's hopes to claim Taiwan. The drills involved over 2,500 American and Philippine Marines and included work on missile launches and the use of amphibious vehicles. The exercises are part of a large-scale military project between the two allies amid fresh tensions in the South China Sea. Beijing, on the other hand, has also conducted a series of threatening military exercises within Taiwan's territory. So it certainly sounds like a tit-for-tat situation. And as always, I will continue to keep you updated. In the meantime, here are just a few other headlines. Saudi Arabia has pushed back at U.S. outrage over oil cuts. Saudi Arabia pushed back on Thursday against American threats to punish the kingdom for agreeing with Russia and other oil-producing countries to cut the output. The Saudi Foreign Ministry, in an unusual statement, said that the Biden administration had urged the kingdom to delay the production cuts for 1 month. Such a delay could have prevented the price hikes at the gas pumps, but the Saudis said that they had disregarded the United States' request because they feared that such a delay would have had negative economic consequences. This statement was the latest evidence that the dispute over oil production was racketing up tensions between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia, whose relationship has already been strained of how to treat the Russian president. American concerns about Saudi Arabia's human rights record, and Saudi worries that Washington has given up its commitment to the kingdom's security. After the cartel of oil-producing country known as OPEC Plus announced an output of 2 million barrels per day last week, Biden vowed that there would be consequences for the kingdom, without defining what they might be. In the meanwhile, the Times of Israel is reporting that the Palestinian Authority president told the Russian leader Putin on Thursday that the PA does not trust the United States to be an unbiased mediator in any future negotiations. He said that we don't trust America, and you know our position. We don't trust it. We don't rely on it. And under no circumstances can we accept that America is the sole party in resolving a problem. Now, it's very interesting to note that Joe Biden has restored funding after the Trump administration cut funding to the Palestinians. But Joe Biden has restored it. He is also focused on boosting the Palestinian economy. So the United States is helping the Palestinians, but the Palestinians are turning to Russia, who's not giving them anything. So just very interesting to note there. And finally, the Times of Israel is also reporting that the Lebanese president stated on Thursday that Beirut has formally accepted a U.S. mediated maritime border deal with Israel. He said that he announces the approval by Lebanon of the final version prepared by the American mediator after months of talks, mediated by U.S. envoys between Lebanon and Israel, which have no diplomatic ties and are technically in a state of war. The two nations agreed to a final text of the deal earlier this week. On Wednesday, Israel's cabinet voted to back the principles of the deal and send it to the Knesset for a 2-week review period. Following that, the cabinet will vote once again to fully ratify the terms of the agreement. The Lebanese president stressed in his speech on Thursday that no normalization with Israel took place. He also maintained that the indirect agreement responds to Lebanese demands and maintains their rights. The president also stated that Lebanon did not concede a single square kilometer to Israel and lauded Lebanon's full control over the Quana field. Lebanon continues to refuse to recognize the existence of the State of Israel. Finally, it goes on to report that announcing the deal on Tuesday, Prime Minister Lapid said that the agreement would strengthen Israel's security, inject billions into Israel's economy, and ensure the stability of...
So you see the time that we are in. Okay, that's good, right? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 10. To whom shall I speak and give warning that they may hear? Behold, their ears are circumcision, and they cannot hearken. Behold, their words of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They have no delight in it, right? They have no delight in it. Verse 17. Jeremiah 6, verse 17. Also, I will set watchmen over you, said, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken. Let's read again, Ezekiel chapter 6, verse 17. Also, I set watchmen over you, said, hearken to the word, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they say, we will not hearken. All right, we can go to... let's go. Yeah. Jeremiah, Ezekiel 3, verse 17. It say, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman to the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me. Right? Give them warning from me. Ezekiel 33, verse 1. Again, the word of the Lord came to me and say, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of thy coast, and set him for thy watchman, when you see the sword come upon the land, he blows the trumpet, and warn the peoples, right? Warn the peoples, verse 4, that whosoever hear the sound of the trumpet, and take not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood should be upon his own head. Verse 5, he that hear the sound of the trumpet and take not warning, his blood should be upon him, but he that take warning should deliver his soul. Right, that take warning should deliver his soul. All right, move on. Well, 3, verse 14. Yes, go to Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It say, proclaim, no, hold on. Put a couple of this on mine. I don't know. I always get that one. Let me see something right quick. It said Pilly Coops, no, yeah, I know I'm saying it right anyway. Proclaim, declare, announce, pronounce. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's begin, make sure. Okay, Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim you this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty man, and let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Verse 10, beat your plowshare unto the sword, and your pretty hooks unto the spear. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Verse 11, assemble yourself, and come all you heathens, and gather yourself together round about. Then call the mighty one to come down, O Lord. Let the heathens be weak, and come up to the valley of decision, for there will valley of Jehoshaphat. The valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I set to judge all the heathens round about. Let's read again, Joel 3, verse 10, 12. Let the heathens be weak and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I set to judge all the heathens round about. Put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fatness overflow, for the wicked is great. Verse 14, multitude in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near, and the valley of decision, right, is near. Joel chapter 3, verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near, and the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkness, and the stars shall withdraw thy shine. All right, Joel 3, verse 15, the sun and the moon shall be darkness, and the stars shall withdraw thy shine. All right, let's go to Zephaniah 1, verse 14. It say, the great day of the Lord is near, in haste, greater even the voice day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry bitter, right? The mighty man shall cry bitter. Verse 15, that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasted and desolate, and day of darkness and gloomy, a day of cloud and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced city and against the high tower. And I will bring stress upon man, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood should be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Verse 18, none of their silver nor their gold should be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land should be devoured by fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy render of all them that dwell in the land. Right, all them that dwell in the land. All right, let me see. Let's go to Matthew. Matthew chapter 16, verse 3. It say, in the morning it will be far weather today, for the sky is red, O Lord, O you hypocrite. You can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern this? Read it again. Matthew 16, verse 3. In the morning it will be far weather today, for the sky is red. Lord, O you hypocrite. You can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the time? Right, discern the signs of the time. Matthew 24, Verse 3. And he said upon the Mount Olivet, the disciples came unto him privately and said, Tell us, what should those things be, and what should be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahweh shall answer and say unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, say, I'm Mashiach, and deceive many. You shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that you be not in trouble, for all those things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? The end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famine and pestilence and earthquake in diverse places. And all these are the beginning of sorrows. Right? All these are the beginning of sorrow. Matthew 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkness, and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the power of heaven shall be shaken. And they shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And they shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the cloud of heaven with power and great glory. And they shall send his angel with great sound of the trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect for the four wind, one from one end of heaven to the other. Matthew 24, verse 32. Learn the parable of the fig tree when its branch yet tender, and pull forth, and leave know that the summer is not. So likewise, when you should see all those things, know that it is near, even at the door. Right, near even at the door. Read it again, Matthew 24, verse 33. So likewise, when you shall see all those things, know that it is near, even at the door. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all those things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. Matthew 24, verse 42, it said, Watch you therefore, for you know not what hour your Lord does come. Luke 21, verse 34. No, it goes verse 9. No, it's 21, 34. Luke 21, verse 34, it say, And take heed to yourself, at any time your heart be overcharged with sulfur, and drink it, and carry of this life, and so that day come upon you unaware, for as the snare shall come on all that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Right? Luke 21, verse 35, for as the snare shall come on all that dwell on the face of the whole earth. It said, Watch you therefore, and pray always, that you may be counted words to escape all those things that come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. Right? It said, Watch you therefore, and pray always. All right, let me see what else I got. All right. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. It said, Behold, speak then in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I put in their mouth, said the Lord. I cause it to be written in the paper, for they are faithful and true. Right? For they are faithful and true. Fear not the imagination against thee. Fear not the imagination against thee. Let not thy encouragement of thy trouble thee. Thy speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Verse 5, Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Right? Move on. All right. Let me see what else I got. Let's go to, I just had everything in my head. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 7. It say, but the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Right? Watch unto prayer. No, I should get this. Oh, let's close it out. Next one. Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. It say, the second woe is past. Behold, the third woe coming quick. Right? The third woe coming quick. Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past. Behold, the third woe coming quick. Right? The third woe coming quick. All right, let's go back to 1 Peter. Go back to that. Verse 7. 1 Peter 4, verse 7, it say, but the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer, right? Watch unto prayer. So that's all I'm going to get into that, So I'm going to close out right there. So I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Shema Shah, double honor to the apostle, brothers, elders, great millstone. Shalom to the hope for the elect. Shalom.